We continue our coverage of Mitt Romney's newly announced vice presidential running mate, Congressmember Paul Ryan. Falling on the far-right spectrum of his own Republican Party, Ryan opposes abortion in all situations, including cases of rape and incest. He also opposes abortion in cases that endanger an expectant mother's health. Barbara Lyons, executive director of Wisconsin Right to Life, said, quote, Ryan has been a wonderful friend to our organization and our great cause in defense of human life throughout his brilliant tenure as a public official. Meanwhile, Planned Parenthood criticizing Ryan on not only his extreme stance on abortion, but also his endorsement of a so-called personhood amendment, which supports defining a fertilized egg as a human being. Ryan was a co-sponsor of the Sanctity of Human Life Act, which even the conservative state of Mississippi rejected last November. The consequences of such an amendment passing are unclear, but many infer it would make infertility treatments and birth control possibly illegal and would all but certainly equate abortion with homicide. Supporters of the measure hope to use it to mount a legal attack on Roe v. Wade, the 1973 U.S. Supreme Court decision that established the right to abortion. Congressmember Ryan is also in favor of defunding Planned Parenthood, dismantling Medicaid, repealing Obama's Affordable Care Act, as is, of course, Mitt Romney. For more, we go now to Madison, Wisconsin, where we're joined by Nicole Safar. She's the public policy director for Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin. And Nicole, welcome to Democracy Now! Talk about Paul Ryan in your state in Wisconsin. What has been his record on women's reproductive rights?
Well, thanks so much, Amy, for giving us this opportunity to really share with the rest of the country and the rest of the world a little bit about what we know about Congressman Paul Ryan. He has certainly shown himself to be one of the most extreme members of the Republican Party on women's health. I think you outlined it very well. He wants to make abortion illegal in all cases. He has signed on to the personhood bill, which we're very concerned will have implications for in vitro fertilization, for different kinds of birth control. It's just a very extreme measure that has been defeated in Mississippi, one of the most conservative states in the country. And this is something that Congressman Ryan thinks is good public policy for the country. So that's troubling right there. And of course,
Nicole, before we go on, I wanted to ask you about this issue of opposing abortion in all cases. Explain exactly what that means.
So that means that abortion becomes illegal, it becomes a crime, and there aren't places where women can get safe and legal abortion procedures. And that means if you are a victim of rape or incest, you don't have access to this. If you have health concerns, it really is putting women's health in a very dangerous position. Pregnancy can be a very wonderful time for women, but it also can be a very scary and trying time on women's health. And for Congressman Ryan to think he's the one that should be making the decision to take healthcare options away for women, that's very troubling to us.
Earlier this year, Congressman Ryan told David Gregory on Meet the Press that he wasn't concerned about Republicans overplaying their hand on the issue of contraception and women's health. He suggested the government requiring employers to pay for birth control would violate people's freedom of a religion. I want to go to that clip.
What we're getting from the White House with this conscience issue, it's not an issue about contraception. It's an issue that reveals a political philosophy that the president is showing that basically treats our constitutional rights as if they're revocable privileges from our government, not inalienable rights by our creator. And so what I would simply say is we're seeing this new government activism, sort of a paternalistic, arrogant political philosophy that puts new government-granted rights in the way of our constitutional rights. And so what I think it really is that it's an argument for freedom, for our founding principles, and for protecting those constitutional rights, which right now with this new mandate from HHS, like I said, it's really not about contraception. It's about violating our First Amendment rights to religious freedom and of conscience.
That's Paul Ryan earlier this year. Nicole Safar, your response.
Right. I mean, it's a really interesting philosophy of government, isn't it? I think that it is so out of touch with what we see on the ground every day, with what women know every day to be the real issue. And it is about getting access to birth control. It really is. Women struggle every day to get access to basic health care like what we provide at Planned Parenthood. And the Affordable Care Act has removed so many barriers for women when it comes to this basic preventative health care like well women exams and birth control. I think that, Congressman Ryan frames it in this very unique way because he knows that it's so out of touch. He knows that his position is so out of touch from what the women across this country really understand.